future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hi guys, this is Sunny Chayes, and you are with me today on Singing in the Rain. And we have about 50 to 60 minutes, and I hope that it is time enough to bring you a mighty, mighty gift of joy. Imagine an invisible song spirit that can change into whatever sound or message needs to be heard in a given time. The song spirit needs a human voice in order to reach its full potential, and so perches on the shoulder of a child who will carry it, perhaps unaware, everywhere she goes. Imagine that song spirit must wait for the one who carries it to find the space and wisdom to give it her devoted attention. It may take years for the vessel to learn to listen to the message of the song spirit, but she eventually does. And the moment she listens, the universe begins to dance. Then, like nature, the song spirit softly breathes into the heart, through the voice, and into the hands of its devoted vessel. And that devoted vessel is none other than the beautiful and incredible Rickie Byars Beckwith, who is with us today. So I want to welcome her to our show and say hi to Rickie. Hi, Rickie.
Hi, Sunny.
And just to let you guys know, I didn't actually write that, but Rickie did. That is from Let My Soul Surrender, Grace Notes of a Journey by Rickie. So I love this book so much, Rickie. Is first thing I want to say. I could just go, open any page and just my listeners and viewers would be knocked out.
Me too. I love that book. Sometimes I wonder, because I love all my music, and I'm wondering, am I just is it narcissistic, to love one's work, and love oneself so much that I can love you so much.
And I can love you so much
that you can start loving me. But
exactly.
But the end point is not so that you can start loving me, like the song. That's the only thing about that song. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you could love you so much that you could start loving me, but maybe, and that we could start loving the planet, the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Music comes through for you first, and then to share with the rest of the world.
Right.
So.
And that feels so much like about what you do. I want to start the show by telling you that I sent out a word to people. Do you have questions? Do you have thoughts or whatever? And I could have ended the show with this, but I just want to start it by telling you that people just said to me, just please, it's like I'm here and all these people wish they were here. And they said, just please tell Rickie that so much of her music has made such a difference in my life. And I just heard that over and over. And, I know you know that, and I know the songs have been used in weddings and passing aways and every kind of ritual. But I really got a flood of that. And so I really want to share that with you and thank you, and from all the peeps to
you're
you.
welcome. That's so beautiful to hear. I don't know if I ever really experienced what that really is when I hear it, but I experience it when I sing and others are listening, and I can feel the connection. I can feel what the music has meant when I'm singing.
Yeah. Like when you go to Amsterdam and all the people are singing I Release, or whatever, right?
Wow.
It's like, whoa, I'm 9,000 miles away and all these peeps are jumping up and singing with me. That just must rock, seriously.
It does, because it's an organic kind of earthdom. It's an organic kind of earthdom. We're kind of programmed for stardom. Like, I never said this before, but that's really deep. We're programmed for stardom. But when a music gets to rise on its own accord, not because a major corporate sponsor endorsed it, or a major a record label said you're the priority, so we're going to get you on rotation, we're going to get the funding, we're going to do whatever it needs to do to get your voice on the radio,
or it's a certain person who's singing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, it was like it just got out there just in a very natural way.
So true. So one thing I want to tell you is that something you were talking about in the book. Guys, we're going to be all over the place. So just hold on.
We're already over the place.
We're going to hit everything. So just, and as I said in my Facebook, this was not pre-planned. We're just going it. We've got books, we've got water, we've got it all going on here. I read in your book that you actually had an experience of living or being in Soweto, South Africa. Mm-hmm. And I actually was there, and it was wild because I was in a show called Hair, and it was after it came out.
A show called Hair.
The music.
You ever heard that show?
Yeah, you guys
sure
ever heard of
have.
that show, the musical? And I was, little when it came out, but I was in the touring company. I was 17 years old, and we were in a place called Maseru, Lesotho, which is an all-African country in the middle of Johannesburg, or in the middle of South Africa. Yeah. And one of my best friends, Sammy Bodibe, lived in Soweto, and so they literally, you have the break, like when sort of the little time in between 8 shows a week, and they literally got in a car and we drove all night, and they put all kinds of blankets and everything over me so no one would see me, because no one could see me, because I would get arrested, they would all get arrested, and they smuggled me into Soweto. So it was amazing. And then years later, when I was singing in Unity in Marin, I walked in one day. I hadn't been there for a couple of weeks, and the choir, and all of a sudden I heard this sound, and I was like, it chokes me up even now. They were doing "We Let It Be." But the chords and the sound of that is so like the Soweto sound that I was just
I never thought of that.
Oh my God, you haven't? Oh my God. I was literally like, where am I? What's happening? And I was just I was like, oh my God. And every time I sing that song, I always pick a different harmony, because it's like, I don't want to get bored with just one. People
Isn't that a great song?
It is. One of my favorite songs ever. I love that song so much.
Yeah, me too. And, when I went to South Africa the first time, I've been several times, but when I went the first time, it was the harmony that just knocked me out. And we smuggled some white people in, too. It was the funniest thing because they weren't too cool with that. They were like, because they're not, the folks that were with us. And I don't know any white Americans that are used to being the minority.
Right.
So just being in this.
Yes.
And we were there before Nelson Mandela was elected.
Yes.
So that was when
Me
you were
too.
there too.
Yes,
and so it was not cool.
Right.
It was not cool, and you could hear gunshots in the air. It was like it was an interesting time.
Yes.
And we were there, and to do a workshop on visioning and to prepare for greater, to prepare the people that we met with for a larger vision of what they see, what you could see, and it was an interesting work. Because
was that the Pulpit Women of South Africa?
The Pulpit Women showed up there.
Oh,
I mean, we showed up at one of their events during that trip.
I see.
But that was not the Pulpit Women. This was Agape with another organization there that I don't remember. But what was really what was just magnificent to me was that when I heard the harmonies.
Ooh, yeah.
When I first heard the first song, because we joined with choir. So our little choir ensemble joined with their choir, the Orlando Wesley Singers.
Okay.
And that was where the magic was for the whole trip.
Ooh.
Was a combination of the Orlando Wesley Singers, because people didn't really show up in large numbers like they thought. They did not do it.
Oh,
so the people that were there, we made the event from the people that were there.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
And sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it does. But what better people to have than people who are willing to sing with you?
Yeah.
And they showed up at the airport, even though the police told them not to come. They were at the airport. They greeted us when we landed.
Ooh.
And the harmonies that I heard was like, it just made you cry.
Yes.
It's
so different.
Well, it was different, but it was very, very, for me, it was very familiar.
Okay.
Well, it was like the other part. That's the best way I could put it. It was just like the other part.
I love that.
It was very familiar, but I hadn't heard it like that. It was the other part.
Yeah.
And then the most incredible thing about being there was that if you were singing at an event, and still it's the same way today, if you were like doing something like when we did the Pulpit Women, when we did that program, and somebody started a song, and next thing you know, the waiter comes out from the bag.
Yes.
He's singing his part.
Yep.
The waitress begins to sing. All the hell.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knew their part.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're doing with the Agape Choir.
Yeah.
They know their part so well. Even though some of them may not be great singers, they know their part.
Yeah.
So if they're wherever they are, and that's going to be our new thing this summer.
I love it.
Flash choir without anybody knowing.
dig it. I dig it. Sign me up. I'm going to come.
I mean, at church.
Right.
You know, at church.
I love it. You know, one thing that I want to say about that, but not to pass over the Soweto experience. And again, when I lived in Maseru, Lesotho, I was one of 9, what they called at that point, Europeans, and then there were the Africans, and I was one of 9 or 12 or something. And I was a kid. I was 17. I turned 18 on the stage of Hair, and it was. I just feel so grateful that I had that opportunity because I learned
so much,
much.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I learned were really about. You know, there are a lot of ways to do things. You know, like a, you know, sort of person from America thinks, oh, well, there's one way to set a table, drive a car, let alone all the other political, you know, deeper stuff. So it was so eye-opening on about 1,000 levels. But that was the other thing that I just absolutely loved so much because I always loved to sing. I always loved to dance. But in America, it was kind of like, well, that's just, you know, you're high or whatever if you walk down the street doing that. But there, just like you're saying, someone would start singing and then like I would go into a factory or something and somebody would start singing and then they throw a third and then a strange fifth on top and then a third below and all of a sudden it's just this sound.
It's amazing. And this is what I tell the choirs a lot. All choirs that I've worked with, I would say that in South Africa, what I found that the glory was not with the lead singer. The glory was with the choir. You know that there were most of the songs didn't have a lead singer except for yeah
exactly
you know that little blues thing but it's just like most everybody's not Hugh Masekela. They are the choir.
That's right.
Which is an incredible thing. So everybody sings.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about going to Agape, and I'm sort of new in LA and just kind of going, is what I love, and I love it for you so much, is that so many people, you're talking about the Flash deal, but the thing is there's so many people in the seats, you know, that know the stuff.
I know.
So they start doing stuff, and then, then that's like they're holding it down, and then you can just do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, this is so fun.
Oh, man. It's so fun.
And for you, I'm like, and I could just feel the joy, and you're just like, okay, peeps, you got it down. Now I can do what I want to do, and it's so great to watch, and I just and sing with, and be part of it.
I did this event in San Francisco with an organization that's now defunct, but at the time they were doing these different events in different cities, and anyway. There was a man there, and I always smile with this because this is a funny story. So there was a man there that I didn't really know his work either. But when he started to do this particular song, I was like, oh, that's who he is, So his name was Steve McCarty from the Steve Miller Band. Right?
And we're talking about Hub.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the event in San Francisco that I actually worked with you on. Oh, my gosh, you completely forgot about that. I have something funny to say about that, but go ahead. All right.
But were you there?
Yes.
And so
with Faith in the front row.
Yeah. Go ahead. No. But when he said after the whole thing was, because he did his thing and he did Fly Like an Eagle and the place was rocking and I was just checking everything out. And then when I went to the piano and I went into I Release.
Well, you know what you said? I remember exactly because you came in and you sat down and you were like, well, I don't know who put this program together. Of course, it was Faith and me. But, I mean, I kind of love that you put me after this guy. Like, that's pretty cool. And so then you said, well, so I think I have to pull out one of my hits. And you started the beginning, There Was a Time in My Life. And Faith and I looked at each other because normally people jump up at I Release, But we just kind of looked at each other and we just flew out of our seats. It was like, girl, you are doing your hit song.
And it was deep because so many people knew them. So after everything was done, he comes up to me. I love this moment. He says, where have I been all my life that you exist and I'm just meeting you and everybody knows this music except me?
Wow.
And I was like, well, you haven't been at Agape.
That's right. Or a lot of New Thought churches, and that's the thing that I find so amazing, again, just back to the spirit of the music, and again, all the people speaking through me right now, is that, I even remember, one thing I want to say about I Release, by the way.
By the way, Steve is coming to the Raj this year.
Oh my God, how fun is that? I love that guy. He is a crack up. He's so great, and his wife is doing great things with schools, and everyone's doing stuff.
I know.
When I first came to Unity in Marin, I didn't know who you were. You know, I'd been out of music for a while. I had like a sort of a bad kind of a divorce relationship thing, and I was sort of like, okay, screw it. I am so, you know, the bird, put the cloth over the bird. I am not singing. It was sort of like my own punishment to myself.
I haven't heard that. Put the cloth over
I don't
the
know.
bird.
I just come up with these things. You know.
I got to write that down.
I can't wait to have that in our next song. So I walked into this place, you know, and they're like, I am looking, I'm like, oh, good sound system, great piano, you know, I'm like, oh, I could kind of do something here, I think. So they were doing these, the songs and all these different things, and there was this one song they did, and I noticed, wow, you know, when somebody, you know, when the music director, Carmen Marie Coleman, you may remember her. We did stuff together.
Yeah.
Would give somebody, she was so sweet because she would give somebody like, you know, an older lady who just really didn't think they had any of those chops anymore, or really any more mojo, actually. They were sort of done, and she would give them a particular song called I Release. And they would like get the mic, I mean, and they would just like do this thing, and they would get all this like, you know, love from the audience, and it was like, oh my, I mean, it was just like you see them blossom, and then they're like, it opens their lives up. Yeah. And I noticed over and over again, that song was like, you know, a therapeutic, you know, you can continue living, you can get your vitality back, you can get your mojo, your your whatever, and groove it, and everybody. It was like a what do I want to say, like a workshop, like a a spiritual therapy whole thing. And so then I was going to sing it, and I was kind of whining. I'm like, everybody does this to show their chops and everything. And the musical director said, yeah, so do it, Sunny. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't want to be like too showboaty. Right. I'm like, everybody's so showboaty. Yeah. She's like, yeah, and this is a song you do it on. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, that song, besides the meaning of it, it has all of that too. Yeah,
it's amazing because I wrote it so fast with Michael. It wasn't a song that it took a long time to write.
Interesting.
You know, it was just like we needed a song. I felt that we needed a song in service when, in the old days, when he'd finished speaking, you know, it would be like, and that just felt so strange to me that, you know, that we would finish and go there,
right,
to applause when what we really wanted to do was something else.
Celebrate.
Yeah, was to celebrate.
Yeah.
And so, and then when we put the intro to it, there was a time in my life, because that was not originally there.
Oh, interesting.
You know, the first part, I Release and I Let Go, was written, and then we wrote the prelude.
Ah,
so, yeah.
Because that is really, I mean, it's like, whoa. You know, and people, and when they're actually singing it, they have that opportunity to say that. You know, I thought I had to do it all for myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I sang that, it was like, whoa, yeah, I really feel that. Like, I do feel that. You know, being a mom, single mom with 2 kids, whatever, all that. Even though I'd always had a spiritual practice from the time I was born. Luckily, I was one of those, you know, weird people. I didn't just get it in college with mushrooms or whatever. I kind of came this way, and that's why I'm going to go on to. Oh, and by the way, guys, we're going to be talking about all kinds of things that Rickie's doing. So, you know, we're going to be doing about that too. But so I want to say about that it's perfect that you have the ability to do that. And one of the things I want to also just compliment you on. This is like so. I'm just going to say it. So I've watched you move through it. I've seen many musicians in my life. I use the term showboating. I've seen many spiritual people who sing, singers who want to be spiritual, whatever. You know what I mean. And you know what I mean.
It's so funny. Yes, I do.
And I saw in you, and you know, like, it's not like we sit around and have lattes, people, although now we may. Of course, they have to be organic and fair trade and all that. But you know what I've seen this growth in you that is astounding to me. At a certain point, I saw, you know, I always loved your music ahead of time before I knew who you were, and these different songs, you know, Fade Into God, which I want to talk about having to do with Mother's Day. But I really saw in you and have felt in you this, like at one point, maybe you even felt like, oh, there's so many amazing musicians around me that are like schooled and like this and have training and have you experience, you know, whatever it is that they have that you maybe felt you didn't have.
Right.
So it was sort of this, you know, and then when that goes on, there's a little less of a generous spirit as a musician playing with the other musicians. And then I have just witnessed, if I can say, this like release of that. And then the weirdest thing is going on. Everything is getting more sophisticated and more like, well, yeah, sophisticated. Like when I listened to the choir, it used to be beautiful and much more kind of basic. And now it's like really integral, and it's really like so it's kind of like you let go of that, and then all this like amazing brilliance is coming through you. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. And what you're talking about is like it's just a freedom. Like I grew up, you know, and I think
And let go.
Like yeah, I grew up, man. And you know, it's like, and sometimes we want to be everything right now, and we don't realize, we may not realize that life is a journey, and because we're programmed for stardom, you know what I mean, for reaching this destination where we're loved and accepted and everything's going gold and people are buying, you know, it's like, but what about the journey where you get to discover who you are, you get to fall down, you know, you get to be disappointed, you get to, you know, to have your heart broken, you get to have bad relationships, and you get to find how amazing you are inside yourself. And then you might get to meet somebody that's just as amazing as you on that road, but you'll meet lots of people who are amazing around you who came to help you do your work.
Exactly.
To express. So what's happened for me as I've grown, because I've had enough time to grow up. And Agape, like I told somebody this a couple of days ago, if you make space for God, God makes space for you. If you make space for your gift will make a space for you. You know, so Agape provided the space for me. I took it. You know, it was just like, it wasn't even like I had to take it. It was just like, it was so me. I just melted into it. I left everything. I left everything. You know, you talking about putting the cloth on the bird cage. You know, I put the cloth on that relationship.
Wow.
You know, it's like, this is not it. You know, once I saw what true inspiration was, it's like, what have I been doing? I'm dying here. If I continue here, I'm going to die. You know.
Whoa.
I'm going to die. And that's what was really happening in my body even. You know, so just the journey through Agape, you know, and really with Michael as a great teacher, and then as a great lover. You know, he is my friend, man. He's such a good person to be with me. You know, I don't think he's good with everybody. He would be good with everybody because he's an interesting cat. You know, but I'm interesting too, so we kind of work really well together. And man, it's just like, it's been wonderful to just see a journey unfold without it having to look like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once this got put to the side, I could look at what is. You know, and wow, is it magnificent? So those songs you're talking about, most of that music is not new. You're just feeling it differently because I'm conducting differently. Because I finally can see the total beauty in the piece. Now I know what I was doing. You know, like sometimes you write it and you don't quite know. You know at the level you know, but then you expand, like you were talking about, the teachings were used to be all of that. Now they're ground level.
Right. And we're going
and
up.
We're going up. So
Yeah.
those pieces keep revealing more beauty, you know, as I find it.
And when I was just mentioning to you on the way over here, I had I think it's 5, 6, 7-year-old recording of "We Let It Be" in the sanctuary, and I'm listening to your voice and everything, and it's like you are just so much better now. You know, in the book, Michael talks.
Agree.
You are, you know, and I love that you wrote this other thing. I just love this little. I'm gonna quote Rickie a little bit here. I love this so much. A song was sitting on my shoulder, and I couldn't even see it. And I love this other thing. I loved this song from the first chord. Like, that's just so cool. And earlier when you were talking about, is this narcissistic or is it just kind of great to, you know, love oneself? And I think, I think it is actually, because the truth of the matter is, you know, I mean, you know it's coming through you for the man. I mean, you are so clear about that it's so not about you. And that's why you can love it and you jump around and you're so excited when the people are so excited and people love it, and I tell you that all the other people love it and everybody tells you, oh my God, I got married and you know all that, because you know that it's not about you.
Right, that's true. That's
I mean,
very true.
somebody said to me when I was getting this very nice Yamaha piano for you, they said,
And it
"Oh,
is
well,
very nice.
is it?" I'm like, "Yay!" And we'll get, we're going to be Rickie's going to be now. Is it on, John? Like
Yes.
anytime
Yes,
that
it
Rickie
is.
wants to warm up
very
here or
nice.
whatever. The person said to me, who I got it from another person, and I checked out like 9 pianos, and I thought, okay, no, we've got to do this one. And they said, "Oh, well, are you going to?"
You checked out 9 p.m.
I did. Are you kidding? And it has a sustain pedal too, people.
Yeah. She is a thorough individual.
Yes.
Well, I like to honor you. That's what I have to say about that. But the person said, "Oh yeah, just okay. Yeah, okay." I'll try to keep in my chair here. They said, "Well, are you going to give like a gift? Do you want to take that person out to lunch for, doing that, getting the piano out of storage and stuff?" I said, "Yeah, I do. But, he's paying it to me, and I'm paying it to Rickie, and we're paying it to all you guys, and you're paying it to all you guys."
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And it's not even paying; it's giving.
It's giving. It's sharing.
Giving. It's sharing.
Yeah,
We're sharing
yeah,
it
we're
forward.
sharing,
We're even changing that term. It used
That's
to
right.
be get it, pay
Pay
it
it
back,
ba-
pay
right.
it forward.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
we can say
We're
sharing it
sharing,
forward.
Yeah.
just keep-
We have access to all assets.
Yeah, we do, and all words. And one thing I love about your husband is that I love how he just reinvents the English language. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
But sometimes as a wife, I'm going like, well,
What was that?
doesn't discernment mean the same thing as choiceability? But the good thing, what I love about him is that he's so free to be himself, and I know for sure that our coming together, our union has been very good to free him, because he was not that person
Interesting.
15 years ago. I mean, he was him, but
Right.
he wasn't kicking his feet up in the air.
I was just going to say, I think you have something to do with the kicking and the, getting down and doing the push-ups and the whatever.
Well, the push-ups is his own. That's his own thing. But what I guess what I mean is just the freedom.
Yeah.
To express oneself, because in the old days, like especially in the early days of my coming to Agape, and I was there, I came to Agape on its charter Sunday, its first anniversary.
Oh.
So I showed up that day.
Whoa.
That's when I came. And
I love it.
And he was, it was an interesting. He was a beautiful man, but he was not into singing. And even as songwriting partners, I say, "Can you sing this part? Because I need him to sing that so that I could sing the other part."
Right.
And he'd go like, I say, "No, just sing it. Just sing it. You're gonna be all right. It's just singing. You can do it." And then then the next thing I know, he was going like, "Shut up!" I mean, we'd be writing together. I'm working on this thing like what was I working on? More peace, more love, more joy, more joy. I said, I got this song from a dream, and more peace, more love. He goes like, "Shut up!" I'm thinking like, dude, what have I created here? No, that was another shut up. No, the song was like this one. It's like, I was walking asleep, dreaming I was awake. This world confused me and led me astray. Yes, it led. And he said, "Shut up." I'm thinking like, you know what? Is he crazy? I'm about to hit a preacher.
Yeah, right.
And he said, "I hear something coming in my right ear."
Whoa.
He said, I hear something coming in my right ear. And I'm thinking like, right, because I've never heard nobody tell nobody stop writing a beautiful song like that, because something's coming in his right ear. Sure. And he said, "I am here for my God to reveal what was said in the beginning." And I'm thinking like, is that what you heard?
Oh my God.
And so what I did was, because I never made fun of him, of anybody that's really expressing something creatively, it's just like, listen to what they're doing. That's something we need to learn how to do in America. How to listen without comment sometimes.
That's right.
Without criticism. And
So true.
he sang this, so I went like, and he said, I said, sing it again. And he'd be like, here for my God too, you know. And in the way he sang, because he didn't sing in those days.
Right.
You know, now you can't make him shut up. You know, he's singing all over. And I started to sing, I am here for my God to reveal what was said in the beginning. He said, yeah, just like that. I'm thinking like, that ain't the way you sound, but I didn't say that. I am here for my God to reveal what was said in the beginning. And then I started.
Whoa.
I was walking asleep, dreaming I was, you know, and the beauty of that song, you know, that's some people's favorite song.
Yeah,
we call it Genesis.
That's an incredible song.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've kind of gotten to that, I want to talk a little bit more about your book. I mean, first of all, and we are going to mention that Maya Angelou passed away today.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing about her, there's one quote that she said, which I think is so perfect because sort of what you did. She said, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And so Michael, in his beginnings for you in this book, really explain about how he kind of got you to do this. And guys, you have got to get this book. It is so amazing and beautiful. And it's so raw. I mean, there's some really personal things you write in here, and I really appreciate that. And I know people just love that. It's just so much more. It's kind of like, I do feel like we've kind of moved away from the sort of the stardom way it used to be. Like you're saying, everyone feels that they should be, you know, that we've got that kind of, it's like, you know, the acorn turning into the to the tree element, that we do have that let's go for it people energy in us. I do believe that too. Yes. And so however that shows up. And so for you to write this, though, I think it's just, people, I mean, I think the time has come, really, like, let's talk about you. I mean, it's really about you coming forward and you being who you are, and again, stepping into more like what's next.
Yeah. Well, that, speaking of that quote that Maya talked about, having that story inside of you, I was working on another book of stories that was not this book. And there were a book of stories from my childhood about my childhood, because my childhood, I consider that it was very magical. You know, that the way I learned my lessons were, all of our childhoods are magical. Yeah. You know, but I just had I just have a relationship. Maybe it's because of my sensitivity that I could just feel so deeply how important those moments were. So now that I'm grown and I look back, and not through a filter of shame and blame, but through a filter of just what happened. Right. You know, from a kid's point of view. Yeah. You know, so I'm telling the stories that usually sometimes start in the present and then they go back into, you know, so I was working on this book of stories, and then I just got tired of the stories. I was like, you know what? This is, you know, nobody wants to hear these stories. It's just me. It's just, you know, it's like me. And Michael's like, he says, you're tired because you've been working on it for so long and putting those books, those stories together. He says, why don't you just change it up for just a moment? And just write the stories about how the songs on your new CD came, because the stories are great. Yeah. You know, just write the stories about how you write about the stories behind the songs. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that sounds that makes sense. And so I was in the studio working on the album that this book that comes with this book, and Let My Soul Surrender was the first story that I wrote. Because I had just written that song at a meditation retreat 2 weeks before I started to write the book. So this, you know, and just about going to the meditation retreat, looking at the audience, being able to feel people's pain and hear their questions, and then going to the piano and singing it on the spot. That was just, you know, it's just really amazing. And you know, so that was a fresh story. So that it felt better than my childhood stories at the time. Now I know I got to put out the book that I was working on. Cool. Because the stories are fantastic. They're great.
Well, and I think that, again, because I know a little bit about that just from being in some situations where you've chatted about things. And again, I mean, they could sound just, sort of very sad, or they could sound very, I mean, just however. And again, people bring their own experience to your story. So they'll have their own thing with it. And at the same time, to get to know who you really are and what you're about now, and again, what you're up to next. And I want to talk a little bit about, I mean, there's so many things to talk about.
I got to come
we're
on
going to be
again.
over 2 hours. I mean, I want to talk about Raj. I want to talk about, let's take a little minute to talk about everything you want to talk about that you're doing.
Okay.
So the book is happened, and guys, John, I don't know, you can pull that up and people can see it, so they're going to actually see the title and see the beautiful book, and it's super, super gorgeous. And something that you wrote in this: be yourself, tell the story, and let it go into the world to be what it shall be. There will always be more to do and become, but there is nothing more glorious than to accept oneself, to trust the spirit inside, and then go for it. And I feel like that is so perfect, because that's what you're doing. I think even, like, again, stepping it up again.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Aren't you? Aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
By doing Raj and stuff.
Yeah, I have to. It's like there's something that calls me, because I don't sit home and go like, now, what are you going to do next? It doesn't happen like that. I mean, it never has, not even with writing a song. It's not like, the only time I was a little close to that was with I Release, where we wanted to write a song for a specific reason. But most 98% of the music that comes through me is music that occurred. Not that I was trying to do, but music that I caught. That I caught it. It's like a dream catcher.
Yeah.
And so now with the Rhythm and Joy Festival, it was like that. It's like I've been to several festivals, and I go there and I go like, wow, this is really great. Being on these grounds, the sun, the music, the food, the choices,
the community,
it's just like a great feeling. And I wanted to have that. I wanted to bring that feeling to initially the Agape community. I was like, we could do this. Yeah. What if we took Revelation outdoors, but it was not going to happen.
Okay.
And so I pitched the festival, and they went like, we ain't taking that liability. Okay. And I understood that too.
Okay.
Some place in me at the time didn't quite understand it, because I knew it was such a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
But it's all right, because it was supposed to have had another journey.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have had the journey where I get to make the decisions with the team that I choose.
Yeah.
That the woman actually leads it.
Yeah.
Not just works for it, but actually is guiding it.
Yeah.
It was so much to learn, but there was, and Michael is in my back pocket always. I never leave home without his love with me.
And I saw him on the scooter zipping around.
Oh,
last
Lord,
time.
was he happy?
Oh my God, he was hilarious. I look around, it's like, wait, there's Michael. Whoosh! Literally.
But it was a stretch for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
you created something new. You birthed something new.
It was
and
really different.
Through that is growing pains and birthing pains and all that stuff.
But it was the best birth.
Oh, cool. I'm glad.
On Monday when I woke up, because I was still on the grounds on Monday, and I woke up and I felt like, oh, wow. And the winds were gone now.
Yeah.
On Friday, the winds were like 70 miles per hour in the morning.
Yeah, they were like the Bahamas or something.
Yeah,
it's never even like this here. What is
but
this?
That's Rickie's initiation. That's what that was.
Yeah.
And that's what Michael said. He says it's an initiation. And
totally.
I'm going like, dude, ain't it hard enough already?
I know. And they're like, okay, we've not even been able to put up these stages. Like, are you out of your mind? This is like physiologically not possible.
Then I was still finding the money to pay for those stages.
Exactly. And meanwhile, everybody is like, the hair is just, People are like, oh my God. But the diehards were there.
Oh, yeah. They were.
And the joy was there.
The joy was there. The joy was there. The experience was there.
Oh, yeah.
And the transformation was there. All that I gambled for. And it wasn't a gamble for me. It was like I had to do it. But all that I stepped into, all that I loaded into it, all my money.
You signed up for it.
It was like at the end of it, I was so happy.
Brings new meaning to winds of change.
Yeah.
Winds of change.
Thanks, John.
Winds of change.
Spirit is moving.
No. Somebody called the blowing man. Mowing Man Festival.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
But you know what was really great was to see how the artists all stood with me.
Yeah.
I mean, from Jamie Lula, well, not all of them. Some of them wondered, when they were going to get paid. I mean, people, so you get to see different things. And
Sure. Absolutely.
I set it up, that they would get paid well. I didn't have that money to pay those people. I thought I was going to have it. So at the end of the day, it was. I'm still paying people, but I have the last of the artist money that's going out next week.
Yay!
So now yay! Woo!
Yay!
You got some applause coming from that one.
I know.
No, that's actually really awesome.
That's for
great.
now. That's the artists, not the vendors.
Well, but it's
Still
good.
open for
It's
the
good
vendors.
timing because let's just say, guys, August 30th, and
Yeah.
so I want to just right here tell you, I want to invite you back. I want to invite any of the peeps that you want to bring with, and we will bring our piano back and go wild in here, and so then we'll be chatting about it, guys, and letting you know how to go, how to get tickets, how to participate, all that stuff.
Well, I tell you, this year it's so totally different.
Okay.
It's so different because last year was 3 days at this fabulous venue, and it
Yeah.
was like the most beautiful place I could find. It was just so gorgeous.
It really
this
was.
year, it's at Warner Park.
Okay.
It's free.
What?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's free.
Okay.
It's Labor Day weekend,
Okay.
Saturday.
Okay.
It goes from 11 to 8:30, and then we're done.
Okay.
I'm partnering.
Well, you never know. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. I'm partnering.
I may be there till 9.
I'm going to be there to 10. But I'm partnering with Artists for Trauma, who deal with. Do you know Laura Sharp?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when Laura came to me and said, I was at Raj, I saw what you did. It was amazing. I couldn't believe what you did, Rickie.
Fantastic.
And so she came to me and said, let's do something together. She said, we want to support your vision of this festival. And we kept talking and working with it. And what was born was that we would do, that they would come with me, and together we'd merge our dreams to make a difference.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
and you know what? That is the new way also. I mean, I just
Yes.
notice it over and over, even financially, where
Yes.
people, come together, living together because, they kind of have to. And now, it's an excellent thing. Something that you're mentioning about with that, with the trauma, and and again, that's so beautiful. And one of the things I appreciate about Agape so much, and then I'm really grateful that you're sort of weaving that with something of consequence and of importance and significance,
Yes.
is that that's kind of where we are right now. And I was at Agape on Sunday, and I wasn't really planning on being there, and I popped in, and you guys were doing a blood drive. And guys, let's just give blood. Okay, it's not that hard. And I was so grateful to do that, and that is, I just want to kind of tie that into the anonymous good aspect,
Yes.
because, and I love this idea so much too at Agape, and Michael is really pushing, that's not the right term, but just inspired to bring everyone to 1 million people in a year to do an act of anonymous good. And if you put it on the Facebook, that you go to anonymousgood.org, and then there's an Agape area to go to. And what is amazing about this, guys, is it's not just, okay, we can do this in anonymous good, which, we're inspired to then do. And then when we post it, we really feel it more deeply. And then it also goes to, the money also goes to slavery.
Well, it goes to free.
Or not to slavery, but to free people, I should say.
To the abolitionists, to free enslaved people all over the world. It goes to plant trees.
Yes.
It goes to feed people, and it goes to provide shelters for folks who don't have homes.
Beautiful.
So and the way it works is that every time you post a good, then a philanthropist will fund your post.
Man, people.
So if you want to make a difference in the world, just go there and just post something good that you did today.
Yes.
Whether you made breakfast for your mom, you got your kids to school and everybody was happy, and
right.
you hugged them.
Yes.
Or you fed somebody in the street. And it encourages you to continue to do good every day, and but to remember to post.
Right, and to post it so it can be monetized. And again, with what I found out when I was giving blood, which it's really easy for me to do it. So I do it as often as possible, but I sometimes forget. So it's so great it was right there. But I found out, I don't know if you know this, a tablespoon of blood can save a preemie. And there are I can't do the math right now, but there are over 20 tablespoons of the unit that you give at that moment. So you can potentially save 20 babies, but very much more practically it could be 3 lives.
Yeah.
So that is a huge element. By the way, I also hear it's kind of good for you. It's actually good to to do
blood.
that. Yeah.
Wow. I'm giving blood is. Some people are better candidates than others.
Right. It's true. It's true.
But I'll try to do it again.
Well,
I almost fainted when I.
Well, you're kind of thin too. I don't know. You have to be. I know.
You're
used
thin
to.
too, Sunny.
Well, I used to do. I did blood drives in Unity Marin, and I actually wore an Elvira costume, and I had people donating pies, and I had the music going.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking
about. The minister was like, if anybody could turn giving blood into a party, it would be Sunny. I'm like, but come on, people, because I believe in it so strongly.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, talk about an anonymous act of good. I mean, this is someone who will never meet you, will never know you,
right,
and will live their life perhaps.
Yes.
Because of your moment that Sunday where you decided not to go see the movie but to give blood. So, so guys, definitely do that with the anonymous good.
It's such a brilliant model to help the world.
Yes.
To serve the world, where without doing good with each other.
Right.
So, I just want to say yay to Peggy Callahan and all the people on the Voices for Freedom Foundation.
By the way, I had them on the show, and I had to we had to they didn't want to be, and it was completely anonymous, so we had to hide the mics and I mean, it was great. It was so fun, and so they really, really brought it in a really true way.
Okay.
Now I know that we're getting a little bit close to the end, so I want to make
but we
sure
also
that
have a question from the chat room asking where can they find more information about the Raj Festival?
Oh, they can go to rajfestival.com. That's R-A-J, festival.com.
Okay.
And we're even now building more stuff on the site.
Okay.
But the thing is that because it is a free event, there will be reserved seating for those who want to reserve seats. So there's VIP seating and bronze and silver seating, and that money goes to help with Raj and with Artists for Trauma. So it's going to be great.
So there is a way to kind of monetize it as well, which is really great. And then I also want to just do a little bit of plugs, and then I want to go maybe into some more music, more stories, whatever we can do really fast. Sojourn to Truth. So I want to talk about that really fast because we don't have that much time, but I want to share with people. Yeah, I want to go. I really want to go this year. I've never gone.
She's talking about the women's retreat.
Yes. That's right. Well, that's what it's called. But yeah, sorry guys, you might not know. So that's July 25th through so it's Friday through Sunday, July 25th through 27th. So and it's still available. People can still sign up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the Soul Sisters retreat, and people sometimes think when they hear Soul Sisters that it's just black women, and it's not.
Or you have to have rhythm. You got to be able to,
you got to have natural hair.
You got to shake it or something.
Man, you just got to shake that wisdom.
That's it.
I like that. You got to shake that wisdom because we know you got it, and we're going to bring it out.
Okay.
So this is the 16th year, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful retreat. It's so much fun, and it's so deep.
Yeah.
And it's not stiff, and it's organic. And I lead it, and I'm supported very well by Greta Sashida.
Oh, she's
and we've been
so
doing it together
great.
for years, and she's just a wonderful person.
She is just
she's a wonderful
delicious
woman.
And delightful, and getting on in years, but you'd never know it. She's just
she don't want to hear that.
No,
you're getting on in years.
I mean that she's not 20. I mean she's not 20. Sorry, Greta. I mean, she's like, no, but she's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, no, but she's super beautiful, and I'm always amazed at her.
Wait a minute. You.
Oh shit.
Well, we have a council of wise women.
That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But years ago, I asked Greta because we choose. I choose the people who go in that council. I just go and handpick them. We only need 6. And it's like a council of women who sit who sit in council for the women of the retreat, and they come up one by one with their issues, and they just go like boom, and these women go like, honey, how long you gonna suffer like that? You hear that, you go like, what? That's a good question. Why have I been? Let me put the bird
kibosh on that one.
Yeah, you put the cloth on the bird cage.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I asked Greta 10 years ago if she wanted to join the council.
And
she was like, I don't think I'm ready. And then I was like, because I thought because she's so elegant.
Yes.
And she's had silver hair a long time, you
Yes.
know. And I
She
just
is
thought like
elegant.
maybe she was ready for the council.
Yeah.
And she
Is
wasn't.
that?
This was 10 years ago.
So Greta, bless your heart, you are one of the most elegant women on earth.
Well, that's why she's all
seriously.
over the television.
That's it. That's it.
You
She
know,
really is.
She sells everything.
Yeah. So speaking of selling, I'm going to sell one more thing. Kuumba Summer Camp, people. So
Yes.
let's talk about that for a quick sec.
Okay, well, the Kuumba in Motion is Kuumba in Motion Expressing Transformation is really the name of the nonprofit organization that is in the process of creating a school, a very, very creative school for our children, ages 5 to 20 or 5 to whenever they're ready to leave.
Cool.
You know, because if they're not ready to graduate, they don't graduate.
I
If
like
they don't
it.
graduate with a vision, with money, or with a direction, you know, or with a business, then they're staying until they're ready. That's ours is that if we do our work well,
Okay.
they'll be ready.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll
But
be
they
ready.
may need an extra year.
or two.
Right.
You know, and you know, so it just it and we have something for them to do.
Yeah.
So they're not just sitting around goofing. You know,
Right.
they're
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of the staff, part of the business, part of the gardening, part of the healing center, part of
Yes.
all the things that are connected with
Like
it.
apprentices.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what school should be anyway for me. So,
Yes.
and our biggest thing with Kuumba is that the children play, that they
Yes.
play and discover who they are, what they love, what they came to bring. We're listening to them. We're not trying to get them to listen to us that way, even
Right.
though we establish boundaries and safe ways of being together, but we're interested in what they have to say because these children are brilliant. So that's the premise.
Okay.
And then the summer camp right now is what we do as we keep the vision of the school alive.
Beautiful.
So we've been around for about 5 years, for exactly 5 years, 5.5. This is our third summer camp. It happens June 23rd through August 1st. And if they're
Okay.
interested in that, they can go to Kuumba, that's Kuumba, KuumbaInMotion.org.
Okay. Okay, so this is, so just check it out, guys, because that is, I've actually, and now, does Reverend Leon?
No, he has nothing to do with
Oh,
it.
he doesn't. Oh, so
No.
this is yet another thing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, things are just springing up
Yeah.
everywhere. I have to
It's
get more
independent.
schooled.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now is this part of your dream? Because I know you have a dream to really create a school, and
Yeah, this is it.
so this is it. So it would be in LA. Because I was wondering if you wanted to do something in Liberia or whatever, but you're
Well,
going to
there
do
is-
it in our home,
Well, there-
the homeland here.
Well, I got to do it first here.
Right.
Now, I know people who build schools all over Africa. They do
Right.
good work with that.
Yes.
I'm very interested in what kind of schools they're building
Right.
because to me, if it's a British education, you know, it's still British.
Right. It's true.
You know, if it's a colonial egg, it's still in a box, even though you do box well.
Yeah.
You know,
I did that. That's how
know.
I went to school in high school when I was in South Africa, and
Yeah.
it's very different than America.
Yeah.
Even it's
Yeah.
and it works for some people,
Yeah.
but it's definitely school in a. I mean, it's very rigid,
Yeah, and
and it
we're-
goes narrow and deep actually.
Yeah.
So you learn what you learn. You learn
But
it.
see, if
but
it's in
not,
but Africa's deep anyway.
Yeah.
See, you're gonna get depth just because you're there.
That's so
it
true.
wasn't because of the class. It was because of where the class is situated.
You got it. It is so true.
Because my kids went to school in South Africa too.
Oh, they did. Oh,
Yeah,
in Johannesburg or where?
they were just 2 months there.
Oh,
But
okay.
they were in Soweto. They were in Joburg. Well, Johannesburg is right there.
Right
And
there,
then they
yeah.
were there in Cape Town. They went to Botswana. They
Oh.
went to Victoria Falls. I mean,
Okay.
and then the next year they went to China. They're in a school called the Student. They're in a school called the Student Travel and Research School. So my kids have been in some very creative schools.
Mm-hmm.
I have to create a school.
Okay, so
Because
you
I
have
know
a
how to do
lot
it.
of- you have some tools there in your
Yeah.
paint. You've got some paint in your paint box
Yeah,
there.
and I want
Yeah.
to I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see this organic school that the artists create.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool about life is that I've learned this in my many years also, Greta. It happens. Is that it's so interesting because there is like a fashion, in other words, in everything, not just clothing, but in food, and the idea. And again, like we were talking about before, what used to be considered very the highest spirituality or the clearest social consciousness or way to speak about something is now that's sort of a base, and now we're going up from there.
Right.
And I'm hearing around the land in my world where I get to meet brilliant people, that there are people who are doing creative schools,
Yes,
out of the box,
that's
sort
right.
of very much turning into what's real. I mean, there were the Waldorf schools many years ago, which I actually loved, and my son went to those.
And they're still great.
And they're still great.
But they're not in the inner city.
And they're not in the
And
inner
that's
city.
the point. They're,
Yeah,
they're not there.
No.
And our school will be.
That's it. That's right.
Even though we'll be in motion, but we are really interested in the students in the children that don't get it.
Yeah.
That, when you hear about education in the inner city, there's like they want everybody to read because they want them to read by 3rd grade. I'm thinking like, dude, is it really that? Is that what we really want? To put them in a box so that they don't go to prison?
Right.
Yeah. It's like so that that they don't go to prison. So what would happen if we created, if we allowed them the space to play?
Right.
Right. To play.
Yes.
And to create.
Yes.
And then they'll read, they'll do everything.
Right. That's exactly right. And when people do have, and it all happens when, and that's one of the things I like about Waldorf, where it does have more of an organic, like when we're ready to do this, we'll do that. And then maybe we're going to weave first, and then we'll learn to sing. And then through the singing, we'll be reading because we're learning lyrics. We really want to learn that other song. We're going to Google that whatever song, and we want to be able to learn it. And that's where it comes from. And I think that's where all learning really should come from, is the desire. And I have 2 boys, and they went through the sort of American system, and I don't think it served them. I just have to say, bless their hearts, are doing well and all that, but kind of in spite, not because of.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Ooh, it's painful.
I know.
I had many moments of pain. By the way, again, we're all over the place, but I want to segue that so you guys get all of that stuff, and we're getting a few more minutes from our people, because we do have the magnificent Rickie here, so they've given us extra time. Yay!
Yay!
So I love that. I want to share with you, speaking of children, that I went to Mother's Day at Agape, and I wasn't really going to go because I was sort of, Mother's Day is a little tough for me. My kids are not, they're in San Francisco. I live here. All is well. I'm really close to them, but I'm just down here doing some stuff. And so, but I'm really sad about that. And my mom died when I was young, and whatever. So I was going to Agape, and but I was kind of like, oh, people are going to be jumping around and being thrilled and happy.
Being motherly.
Right. And just all this joy and all this, and I was like not in that place. And then the whole service was just so much more soulful. And then I heard those 2 chords of Fade into God, and I'm like, oh my God, Rickie, you are not playing Fade into God. Oh my God. And so I am just there. I just want you to know, just sobbing away, because it's like there are no mistakes in God. Thank you for reminding me of that, because, as a mom, I sometimes think there are mistakes. I did make mistakes, or I wish this happened, or I wish I figured out a way to get them out of the regular school to get them to a more, school that fit for them. These
and
things.
Don't worry, if you had, they would have said, "Mom, I wish you had left us in public school."
Exactly. Like my dad used to say, the kids, all you guys are going to make us wrong anyway, so we'll do our best and go have a martini or whatever. But the thing about that is that I was there and I was just sobbing away, and that's such a beautiful song. And when you finished, and I looked around and I saw many moms with their tears, really just to kind of let you know.
I had no plan to do that song.
Wow.
When that song it takes a lot physically to sing it.
Yes.
Because it's all over the place, and it requires so much. And it just had a long week.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the song of choice, but it was like, sing this song. That's what it was like. Sing this.
Whoa, and it was, go for it.
Bit?
Please. Oh my God, please.
Oh yeah. I love this song. In my pain, there inside my weakness is the seed of something greater in me, and the shame of not choosing higher, and all the disappointing moments fade into God. No mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail in God to God.
The smoke that comes from Rickie. In your book, when I read about Michael saying before he met you that he heard a song and it was like, I have to meet this person because of the smoke in that woman's voice. And when I heard that word, I was thinking of what that really means, because I think of the smoke in a Catholic church with the incense, with a Navajo.
I sure smelled enough of that.
Yeah, you did. With the Navajo, process with the
smoke.
with the smoke. I mean, I think of my dad was a jazz musician in Chicago, the smoky 40s and 50s and 60s clubs with the stand-up bass. I mean, there's so many aspects of smoke, and I agree. I mean, your voice is like nobody else's voice on the planet Earth. I mean, I
sure tried to make it somebody's.
Yeah, and then
it was just my voice.
Yeah,
but it seemed that I was getting no traction. I think I wanted to be like these people, but my mother always said, she said, your sound is your sound. Don't sing like. So you can learn a song like Diana Ross, but don't try to be Diana Ross.
Oh yeah, bring another thing to it.
But I always had a voice that was different, and my daughter does too.
By the way, I love the picture of you in your 7-year-old picture. So how are we doing, John? I'm getting like
just 1 minute left.
Oh my gosh!
1 minute.
Gosh, 1 minute. How did that happen?
Well, Sunny, I love being on your show today, and John, thank you so much for the
this was
great sound.
Amazing, and I'm going to say to you as we go out, Sia Hamba Kuki Yenkwen Koza, which means we are walking in the light of God, which is what you are doing in your life. So let us go out to something. You pick it. We'll just go out to it.
Yeah. Yes, I'm only here to love. No more struggle, no more strife.
Ow.
With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go.
I let
Go,
the
Sunny.
Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Here to love.
No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Ow! Bye-bye, Rickie Byars Beckwith, beautiful, beautiful person.